Hey everyone, Wolf Lord Rho here. Today we're going to be revisiting the prophesized vision of the Primarch's return from the novel Ashes of Prospero. Judging just what Primarch returns envisioned by the Stormcaller have come true, what hasn't, and what it could tell us about who is coming next. Obviously a spoiler warning here for the novel Ashes of Prospero by author Gav Thorpe. As always, I really recommend you read the stories for yourself first without spoilers, as that's the best way to enjoy the lore for yourself. But with that said, let's just get cracking and jump straight in. Okay, now a shout out to Taylor who reminded me about the Stormcaller's prophecy last week, making me think it was definitely a conversation worth having with everyone. Now, for those that have never read the novel, Ashes of Prospero was the first big Space Wolf novel post-Roboute Guilliman's return and the unveiling of the Primaris Marines to the Imperium. Back then, far from Guilliman himself visiting Fenris, like we saw in the Dawn of Fire novel Wolf Time, instead it was just an ambassador from Macragge who came to see Logan Grimnar. And though the Space Wolves were skeptical regarding these new Primaris, they had actually accepted them pretty quickly into their ranks. And it would be in discussing these events with his chief rune priest and advisor Njal Stormcaller that Logan Grimnar asked him about a possible return of the Wolf King. Whereupon the Stormcaller would reveal a vision of Primarch returns to come. There are stirrings, tempests through which even I cannot gaze. Even so, I saw a sleeper entombed in rock, and a white storm that rode upon a chariot of lightning. A shadow rises to the call of the Allfather's messengers, a darkness that strikes from within. The benighted ones turn their supernal gazes upon our worlds. The Eater of Worlds, the Corpse King and the Misbegotten Child move once more. The Cyclopean Fiend we have already seen. Even the Golden One has broken his gaze from the Imperium again. I felt its glare like a fire in my soul. But nothing pertaining to the Sons of Fenris. Though the 13th have come back and the eye is opened, I saw nothing of Leman Russ's return. Okay, so let's break that vision down. It's clearly broken into two separate sections, the Loyal Primarchs and then the Demon Primarchs. So let's begin with the first part, the Loyal. Even so, I saw a sleeper entombed in rock, and a white storm that rode upon a chariot of lightning. A shadow rises to the call of the Allfather's messengers, a darkness that strikes from within. Okay, so a sleeper entombed in rock is quite clearly Lion L. Johnson, the tale going all the way back to the Dark Angel's 2nd edition codex, of the lion being secretly within a chamber at the heart of the rock. As we know, L. Johnson has indeed now returned, and perhaps it could be pure coincidence here, but he is mentioned first, and he has indeed been the first to return after Guilliman too. Next, the white storm that rode upon a chariot of lightning is quite clearly a reference to Jagatai Khan. No, he hasn't returned yet, but could this vision perhaps mean he will be the next loyal Primarch to return to the Imperium? And could the Chariot of Lightning even mean he'll get that jet bike mount that so many people have been clamouring for? For me, I love the Jagatai model we have, on foot. It just feels more suited to a Primarch for me. Though I admit I would prefer a bit more of a Meng the Merciless vibe going on with the head sculpt. giving Jagatai the more prominent classic eyebrows that we know. A bit more of that hawkish expression. The heresy head just didn't quite grasp the image of Jagatai for me. However, the pose of the model was pretty much bang on. However, I digress. If indeed the Stormcaller's vision is coming in order, which, at least at this early point, is possible, then that means Jagatai Khan could well be the next loyal Primarch we see. Next, a shadow rises to the call of the All-Father's messengers, a darkness that strikes from within. Okay, now this is certainly Corvus Corax, Primarch of the Raven Guard. The shadow is clear enough. Combined with the darkness striking from within, it's a reference to us knowing he is within the Eye of Terror. Perhaps we could see Corax as the next loyal Primarch after Jagatai. However, what I find extremely interesting about this one is that reference to rises to the call of the All-Father's messengers. Now, that basically sounds like Corax will be answering a call or message from the Imperium, from the Emperor himself. Somehow, someone within the Imperium is going to learn or already be aware of Corax's continued existence. And far from returning due to matters out of his hands, it looks like Corax could well return freely, answering his father's call. The messengers could be anyone. It could be something as simple as astropathic messages reaching him, or it could be the Inquisition, or even Saints of the Emperor. Maybe even the Custodes themselves. But it certainly implies it does involve the Emperor, and that somehow he is going to get word to Corax. It's time to come home. The Imperium needs him. And Corax was always quite clearly one of the Emperor's favoured sons. So when Corax receives word from the Emperor, there is absolutely no debate about it. He will do whatever his father asks of him. Now, if we see the Emperor reaching out to summon Corax back, I've got to tell you, that will be absolutely awesome. By far and away my favourite return yet. And it definitely fits with the Emperor becoming more active across the galaxy too. For all we know, it could have been him that awakened the Lion. We know that this is the time he envisioned so long ago, of the long-lost heroes returning, and the Imperium's great fight back against Chaos. So this could very well be a hint of things to come for the Ravenlord. So according to the Stormcaller's vision, the expected returns were Lion L. Johnson, Jagatai Khan, followed by Corax. All still perfectly possible in being correct. Now, it's notable here we don't have any sign of Leman Russ, Vulcan, or Rogel Dawn. So, if the vision does prove to be true, that would mean those three Primarchs won't be returning for quite some time indeed. And next, the Stormcaller saw the traitor Primarchs. The benighted ones turn their supernal gazes upon our worlds. The Eater of Worlds, the Corpse King and the Misbegotten Child move once more. The Cyclopean Fiend we have already seen. Even the Golden One has broken his gaze from the Imperium again. I felt its glare like a fire in my soul. This one is a bit trickier, as obviously the traitor Primarchs have technically always been around. And indeed, Magnus and Mortarion already had models for the tabletop by the time this novel was released. But one thing's clear, it doesn't follow a possible correct order, a la the loyal Primarchs beforehand. Angron we know has recently returned, yet he was mentioned first here. And the misbegotten child, quite clearly Fulgrim, has just been announced. So we could possibly say this blows any theoretical return order out of the water. However, what it does make clear here is that Lorgar, the Horizon, is quite clearly paying attention to the physical galaxy once again, and will certainly be returning. Even the Golden One has broken his gaze from the Imperium again. I felt its glare like a fire in my soul. So, though it was never really in doubt, according to the Stormcaller's vision, all of the traitor Primarchs will indeed be returning to the galaxy. And with his feeling Lorgar's gaze, the Horizon could already be playing his part behind the scenes, a revelation that will come in time. So does this traitor part destroy any possible notion of the order of the loyalist returns? Well, I'm not really sure it does. The traitor Primarchs haven't really gone anywhere, so they aren't returning, so to speak, in the Stormcaller's eyes, perhaps confirmed by him mentioning Magnus at the end. And it's not even clear that he knows what those references regarding the loyal Primarchs are. Just because we know who the sleeper within rock is, for example, doesn't mean the Stormcaller does. He doesn't know El Johnson was slumbering within the rock. He doesn't know Korax is within the Eye of Terror. So it makes more sense that he is regaling the tale as he saw it, which does put more credence back into a particular order. And El Johnson always felt like he would return first anyway, given his history with Guilliman. And you could argue that Jagatai and Korax make the next logical choices too, fitting into the Imperium without rocking the boat, and pretty easy returns given we know where they are. So if I had to say, I'd say it's very possible this vision of Primarch returns could in fact have told us the order of the Primarch returns already. That indeed we will be getting Lion L. Johnson back, followed by Jagatai Khan, and then the Raven Lord. And if indeed the Kargan does turn out to be next, well then that adds a whole nother level of credence to the Stormcaller's vision. And I think it would all but guarantee a return for Korax after, where we would see him answering the Emperor's call. But as always everyone, what do you think? Do you think this prophecy by Njal the Stormcaller will turn out to be true? That this order of Primarch returns has already been established? Or do you think it's a mere coincidence that it just happened to be L. Johnson's name first? And if it does prophesize the way the Primarchs will return, just what do you think the Emperor's message to Korax might be? And who will be his mysterious messengers? As always everyone, leave your thoughts in the comments below. A huge thank you to all my subscribers, your support truly means a lot to me, it really does. If you're new, please consider subscribing to help the channel grow. And if you enjoyed this particular vid, then why not drop a like on it too. But with that said, I am off, and I'll see you all again real soon.